All right, DZ, Kevin, thanks for the love, if you will. We go Hawks and Nuggets. Okay, Red, speaking of shooters and Kevin Herter, and did we say, is there ever a better segue in a transition than Shooter's Paradise to Trae Young?
That's crazy. I mean, that is really crazy good how deep and how accurate he shoots the basketball.
His confidence level, and I'm curious both of your takes on this. How about the line he needs to skate and how you've seen him grow in it? Because I know he probably, Candace, drove Lloyd a little nuts early last year because some of the shots were bad because maybe forced. But he's one of those guys where you never know where it's a bad shot because you're like, and then all of a sudden it goes in. What do you need to see about him in those kind of spots with Trae Young?
Well, that's the thing. He said it earlier in an interview. He knew what he had to work on this offseason. When you're coming to your rookie season, you've never been there before, so you don't exactly know what you learned from experience in that first season. And he started off slow, and he adjusted later on in the year and really put up a good fight for Rookie of the Year.
Yes, he did.
And now coming in this year, I think the game has slowed down a little bit better. He said that he worked on his mid-range, which is then going to open up his outside game. And his decision-making. I think he is sharing the wealth a little bit more and understanding how important it is to get his teammates involved early.
The other thing about this team, we talked about this last week, Collins had such a big growth last year. Now, look, it's only 25 games of the whole season, but just after all the good feelings, Zeke, that team was having about the start, as you see yet another.
I was like, did anybody just see that?
Trae Young, who, by the way, wears a number that's familiar in this set. How tough is that, even for Lloyd, to kind of not make that a distraction or a detour from all the good feelings to have the Collins situation come up?
I mean, it's got to be a distraction and a huge letdown, as a teammate and also someone that, from a coach, if you're coaching him, I mean, you depend on him not only from a playing aspect, but, his character in terms of who he is and what he presented. He was someone that you never thought would be involved in a situation like this. So from a teammate standpoint, he's one of your pillars, and now you're into a big part of the season, early in the season, where he's going to be missing, where you're really trying to run off some games, get your confidence and everything else, and one of your pillars, one of your character guys is now missing from the team. Spiritually, emotionally, that's a big hit.
They've had a lot of their young players step up and grow in little ways. And I love some of what we're seeing out of Reddish because, like Herter, who I think is one of those you hear a lot around the league. You guys know this last year. Why, he's a lot better than I thought he was. I didn't realize. Who was that? I didn't realize that. Where did he play? How good is he? Reddish is a guy the other way, almost seemed to have the attention, expectation hurt him more than anything else. And he wasn't Zion and wasn't Barrett. But now he's getting a chance to learn and grow, and you're already seeing that with Cam here first couple of weeks in.
Well, I think that's why you have a guy like a Vince Carter on your team, is to really bring these young guys along. And you see a Hunter, you see a Reddish, you see a Hoarder, you see even a Trae Young, where you have to understand how important it is to grow a culture and to play a certain way. And I really respect the way Lloyd Pierce has this team playing.
Done a great job.
Because he has established a culture. And you bring over guys, Jones comes over, and slowly but surely you start filling that gap. And I think Collins, although he did, he's out for 25 games, you're still bringing these guys along slowly, and the Hawks really could vie for a playoff position this year.
You mentioned culture, tying the night together, John Beilein, Monty Williams, Lloyd Pierce. Not just about talent, but how much you get out of that talent. We'll try and maximize ours on set. And, of course, we're talking about these two over here to my left. The other guy here will tell you this. The other game is coming. Dame. He had 60 points. There were teams that only had 20 more than that the last time he played. How does he follow it up against Sacramento? We're taking you to the top of the hour. We bring you center court, Casey Stern, Candace Parker, the Hall of Famer Isiah Thomas. And let's go to the final sequence because Candace, no disrespect to the three-point shooting, Embiid had 3 in the first half, but it was inside the work he did to get the bucket, and then defensively, what'd you see here?
Yeah, right here, Kevin Love getting a great look, diagram play out of timeout. You can't ask for a better look than that. But, I mean, the Sixers down the stretch really doing a good job defensively, executing, getting stops. But again, on the other end, offensively, there's not many people that are going to keep the Sixers from getting a bucket when they need to, when they have Embiid inside.
Yeah, two well-designed plays by, two good coaches at the end of the game. I thought Philadelphia did a good job, with the high-low action, dumping it into Embiid. Embiid got a nice, shot at the rim. And then for Cleveland, Kevin Love, he has a wide-open three, courtesy of the shot fake.
Nice look there from our new courtside cam.
Yeah,
just some of the extravaganza in center court.
Just a little long on the shot, but two well-designed, well-executed plays.
The thing is, too, I asked Coach about this, and by the way, don't want to disrespect either Long Island, my birthplace, or Tennessee. Tobias Harris 0 for 11 from 3 in this game, and the Sixers survive. But Zeke, sometimes you see teams have to almost mirror the effort of other teams. And we used to say about Memphis, the grit and grind. Mm-hmm. I know you talked about John Beilein at our pregame. Are we already starting to see the culture that he's presenting of the work and effort that the Cavaliers were putting out? Because it seemed like, tell me if I'm wrong, Philly was having to up theirs as the game went along.
Absolutely. And what you're seeing is, similar to what he did at Michigan, what he did at West Virginia. They play a very methodical style, and they don't take bad shots. They take good shots. Even though they use analytics, they don't depend on analytics. I think they come to the game saying, okay, we got a mismatch with Kevin Love down low. We're going to put it in the post, or we're going to put it in the post to Tristan Thompson. We're not going to take hurried rush shots. We're going to make you defend pick and roll. We're going to make you defend post. We're going to make you defend back screen, flare screen. So I love the way this Cleveland team is coming together offensively. But more importantly, Candace, I like the patience that they're playing with on the offensive side of the ball, particularly out on the road.
And that was a nicely run play, obviously, for Kevin Love, who would say, I'm sure, he and Tristan both great again tonight, had a good look. But I want to go to the possession before that because, to me, there's greatness in coaching when everybody knows X guy's getting the ball, right? And you get it to him anyway because you find a way. They misdirect. They use a little youth defensively as Sexton gets mixed up and Embiid really wide open from the Harris feed to get the biggest part of the game in the bucket.
Well, I thought it was interesting that at the end of the game right here, they bring, Embiid into this, obviously down low. He gets this possession here where it was great defense, Tristan Thompson, but on the next possession where they get the high-low, they brought Tobias Harris high and not Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
And that has been, I will say, a problem that I will say with Philly is that in the playoffs, your best player, you have to have them play off the ball.
Yeah.
Because Ben Simmons doesn't knock down free throws very well, and he's not a reliable shooter from the outside. So I think in years past, they've had Jimmy Butler. Mm-hmm. That can be that guy that they throw the ball to and he goes and gets a bucket. Well, now, with everybody knowing that Embiid's going to get the ball in the paint, they're going to make it harder for him. They're not going to allow him to beat you. So in the playoffs, do you have to go to a guy like Tobias Harris to finish games and to make plays for you?
Yeah, that's going to be, one of the things as Philly continues to go down this path. Can Simmons be on the floor at the end of the game if he doesn't have the ball? What we both recognized tonight was a defensive mistake by Cleveland, where they didn't help enough off the weak side, and Embiid was able to catch it and lay it in. Simmons was on the weak side, and that defender could have slid down, but he didn't. I think when we get to the playoffs, there will be enough attention paid to detail where that weak side defender will slide in, and Simmons will have to make a play either from the perimeter or putting it on the floor. But that's definitely something to watch and look for.
And I think just to add to that quickly, Zeke, Horford, who we didn't see tonight, you go to those years in Boston, we saw it even last year in the playoffs. So great when he's at the top, almost directing traffic, enabling shots and passing and flow. Well, if he's doing that, to your point, expounding on it, then where's Ben Simmons? Because now he doesn't have the ball in that spot either, and Horford is so good at that offensively.
And early on, Steve Smith and I went to the game where Philly played Atlanta, and you could see the confusion with Al Horford and Tobias Harris when Embiid's on the floor, because it seems like, Tobias likes that left block, Embiid likes that left block, Simmons likes that left block. There are a lot of guys that love the same spot. Al Horford, the same thing. So figuring out offensively, especially in the playoffs when you're scouted, where the ball needs to go and how to get those two involved, because Tobias has to be that third scorer for them to be able to be successful.
And I think, come playoff time, and I've said this before, Simmons got to become a better foul shooter. At the end of the game, in the last 2 minutes of the game, your point guard, he's got to be able to do a couple of things. He's got to be able to distribute the basketball. He's got to be able to also knock down foul shots. And if he's open, make a shot. But where you really finish off the game when you got a lead, you finish it at the foul line, because teams are going to be fouling. They're going to make mistakes. So majority of your points are going to come from the foul line to keep that team at bay. But if you're a poor foul shooter, then that coach is going to have to take you out. And then how does that coach massage the ego that you have as being one of the best players sitting on the bench at crunch time?
No, the question is, in crunch time on social media, do we have massaging of egos by family members? Apparently. The highlight of watching NBA TV is seeing the ever-so-fantastic Candace Parker on commentary. Happy Sparksmas, not a relative?
Not a Sparks fan at all.
Not a relative, happy Sparksmas. By the way, staying in L.A., Candace said the Clippers will win the West. We'll come back to that team. The
Shots
Lakers.
fired, that's what we're doing.
Will they treat Phoenix like their son, or will the Suns continue to surprise? We will take a look live when we come back.